Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajachana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tosri Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, New Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Say go to Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ninth Canto, Liberation, Chapter 9, the Dynasty of Angshuman, and Text 47. So if you could please repeat after me. Atesha Maya Rachiteshu Sangam Guneshu Gandharva Puropameshu Rudam Prakrityamani Vishva Kartur Bhavena hitva tam aham prapadye. How does this? Ate shamaya richiteshu sangam guneshu gandharva puropameshu rudam pratikyatmani vishvakartur bhavena hitva tamaham prapadye. Ate shamaya rachiteshu sangam guneshu gandharva puropameshu rudam pratikyatmani vishvakartur bhavena hitva tamaham prapadye. Ate shamaya rachiteshu sangam guneshu gandharva puropameshu rudam pratikyatmani vishvakartur bhavena hitva tamaham prapadye. Any online persons would like to chat? Okay, please repeat after me. Ata, therefore. Ishamaya, by the external potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rachiteshu, and things manufactured. Sangam, attachment. Guneshu, in the modes of material nature. Gandharva Pura Upameshu, which are compared to the illusion of a Gandharva Pura. A town or house is seen in the forest or on a hill. Rudam, very powerful. Prakritya, by material nature. Atmani, unto the Supersoul. Vishvakartuhu, of the Creator of the whole universe. Bhavena, by devotional service. Hitva, giving up. Tam, unto Him, the Lord. Aham, I. Prapadye, surrender. Translation. Therefore, I should now give up my attachment for things created by the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I should engage in thought of the Lord and should thus surrender unto Him. This material creation, having been created by the external energy of the Lord, is like an imaginary town visualized on a hill or in a forest. Every conditioned soul has a natural attraction and attachment for material things. But one must give up this attachment and surrender into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. When passing through a mountainous region in an airplane, one may sometimes see a city in the sky with towers and palaces, or one may see similar things in a big forest. This is called Gandharvapura, a phantasmagoria. This entire world resembles such a phantasmagoria, and every materially situated person has attachment for it. But Khatvanga Maharaj, because of his advanced Krishna consciousness, was not interested in such things. Even though a devotee may engage in apparently materialistic activities, he knows his position very well. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe yukta-vairāgya mucchate. If one engages all material things in relation with the loving service of the Lord, one is situated in yukta-vairāgya, proper renunciation. In this material world, nothing should be accepted for one's sense gratification. Everything should be accepted for the service of the Lord. This is the mentality of the spiritual world. Maharaj Khatvanga advises that one give up material attachments and surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, one achieves success in life. This is pure Bhakti Yoga, which involves Vairāgya Vidya, renunciation and knowledge. Vairāgya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga, Shikshartameka, Purusha Parana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shariradari, Kripambudir Yasitamaham Prapadya. Let me surrender unto the personality of Godhead, who has appeared now as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is an ocean of all mercy and has come down to teach us material detachment, learning, and devotional service to Himself. Chaitanya Chandradoya Nataka 674. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated this movement of Vairāgya Vidya, by which one detaches himself from material existence and engages in loving devotional service. The Krishna consciousness movement of devotional service is the only process by which to counteract our false prestige in this material world. Om Jnana Timiranda Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Danmaditam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bakam Karitavachalam Pangam Langa Tegidim Yakipatam Vande Shri Gurindini Taranam Vanchakapadri Bishcha Kipasinabhi Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, translation again. Therefore, I should now give up my attachment for things created by the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I should engage in thought of the Lord and should thus surrender unto Him. This material creation, having been created by the external energy of the Lord, is like an imaginary town visualized on a hill or in a forest. Every conditioned soul has a natural attraction and attachment for material things. But one must simply give up this attachment and surrender into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maharaj Katvanga was offered a benediction or blessing, and he asked, how much longer do I have to live? Because naturally, if someone wants to give you a benediction or a blessing, you may want to know how long you're going to be able to experience that blessing or that benediction. So they said that you're going to die. You're going to die the next moment. So then at that point he surrendered to Krishna, and we are hearing his prayers to Krishna, his different thought process, the way he's thinking. We're hearing in these last few verses. And we just have two more verses which will complete his speaking. Maharaj Katvanga. So there are two terms, Grihamedi and Grihasta. So Grihamedi means a materialistic householder. A materialistic householder does not have Krishna at the center of their home, does not have Krishna at the center of their life. But they have their own gratification of their senses at the center. And which means my house, my wife, my kids, my husband, me, I. It's all about them. Selfishness. And Krishna may be in the background somewhere, maybe. Just like they have in these, I haven't seen them, but I've heard. They have in these Bollywood. So you have Hollywood and you have Bollywood. Bollywood's what they produce in India. Just that they have these Bollywood movies. I'm not sure why they did that. You have Hollywood and then you have Bollywood. I don't know why they gave it that name. It's a bit goofy, but yeah, Bollywood. Sorry, all the Bollywood people out there. But in these movies, these Bollywood movies, sometimes there's the divine couple. And when I say the divine couple, it's not referring to Radha Krishna. The divine couple means a man and a woman, and so much is going on in the movie, of course, as we generally see in Hollywood movies or whatever. So much going on between them. And sometimes in these Bollywood movies, Krishna is there, but he's playing like a supporting role. He's like in the background, there to help the couple in their endeavors. So, in this way, it's an illusion. In such grihamedis, people who materialistic householders. First of all, this is the general trend in this time, or this Kali Yuga. The trend is to be a materialistic householder. And such persons, they do not understand, they do not appreciate the value of renunciation. And factually, many times they may be just disgusted by it. even the idea. Sometimes people think it's sinful, it's unnatural to be detached from this world. It's like very unhealthy. And and the idea is that the reason why people think like this is due to their being cripple-minded or not broad-minded. Or you could say small-minded, cripple-minded. So that's one term. The second term is grihasta. Grihasta means someone who's situated in the home, right? Grihasta means you're situated in your home. But the difference between a grihasta and a grihamedi is that the grihasta keeps Krishna in the center. The grihasta keeps Krishna in the center. So the difference is a difference of atmosphere. And the atmosphere that a grihasta creates in their home is a manifestation of their desire or a manifestation of their consciousness. And specifically, a grihasta a proper grihasta will create a special atmosphere. And what is that atmosphere? The atmosphere is a temple. They create their home. Their home is a temple. They make their home into a temple. And when we think about a temple, what goes on at a temple? Devotional service. You have the 5 processes of devotional service by Rupa Goswami. There's so many processes of devotional service, but he says the 5 most potent forms of devotional service are deity worship, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, residing in a holy place, chanting the holy names, and associating with the devotees. So a grihasta, a spiritual householder, they have these things going on regularly, daily. They have deity worship going on daily. They have the holy name going on daily. They have Srimad Bhagavatam class going on daily. They're associating with devotees daily, sometimes just their family, which is an important point to remember because sometimes devotees forget that their husband or their wife are devotees. It's not a devotee, just offend each other. So it's an important point to consider that my husband or my wife is a devotee, so I shouldn't offend him with Vaishnava Aparad. Associating with devotees. So, and this is the glory of our Vaishnava Acharyas. They have taught us personally by their example how to live such a life. Now when we talk about grihamedi and grihasta, you could say the principle that we're talking about here, the principle can also relate to brahmacharis, because you have the brahmachari ashram, which is stronger in certain places around the world. Nonetheless, it's existing in all of its glory and wonder. The brahmachari ashram, interesting place. Very hard to explain type of ashram. Means it's kind of. But that the principle is also there, that a brahmachari has to be careful not to fall into that, if you want to say, grihamedi consciousness, in which everything is, it's like a self, where Krishna is not the center. Something else or other things become the center. So a brahmachari has to be always careful that Krishna remains the center. And to accept that Krishna is in control. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He's in control. So Maharaj Khatvanga, he was a perfect devotee and a perfect householder, perfect grihasta, in that despite his inconceivable material opulence, wealth that we can't even dream of. Sometimes people have all types of dreams, right? I won the lottery. They're dreaming, oh my God, wow, they're out buying stuff, and they wake up and realize they didn't win the lottery. Of all types of dreams. But wealth we can't even dream of or conceive, really, Maharaj Khatvanga. But still, despite that, he engaged all in Krishna's service for the pleasure of Krishna. And he did not take this world as all important. He didn't take it so seriously, which is also a very important thing to keep in mind. As Sridhar Swami, one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, would joke, he was a bit of a joker, those who knew him, but he would say, oh, ultimately the joke's on us, right? But so Maharaj Khatvanga, he didn't take it so seriously. He saw it as a phantasmagoria, or you could say as like Maya's show. Maya's magic show. Sounds interesting, right? Maya's magic show. Where people are bewildered to think that they are something they are not. Where people are hallucinating that the goal of life is this, that, so many things. And et cetera, et cetera. Just a big Maya's magic show. So he saw it like that. And again, despite his amazing, inconceivable opulence, he was never bewildered because he always engaged it in Krishna's service. And this is something that we, to different degrees, have to learn how to do. Engage everything in Krishna's service, whatever we have. Our mind, our body, our words, our talents, our money, our whatever we have. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had a disciple, a householder, who would make money and he would give it all to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But he had a wife and kids, so just give it all to him. And but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had to give some back so he could take care of his wife and children and everything. So there's a method for that as well. But yes, we engage everything we have in Krishna's service. And that requires intelligence and that requires guidance, because it is not so easy to understand what exactly we personally can engage and what we can engage. So we need guidance, and a lot of that intelligence comes from, of course, our own advancement in Krishna consciousness, and our own trying to live by the principles of sattva gun, mode of goodness, and by our associating with those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness and listening to them. And in this way, we will have a good chance of not becoming bewildered by what we have. So, and ultimately, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us, he came to give us the gift of renunciation, the gift of knowledge. And that may sound scary. Mahaprabhu came to give the gift of renunciation. It's like, But that renunciation comes from our relishing the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. It's not dry renunciation. It's not dry knowledge. It is ecstatic renunciation, ecstatic knowledge, because it is in relation to Krishna. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if we try to do it otherwise, means just try to be detached without happiness and Krishna consciousness, it's just suffering. He says that sannyas, or renunciation, without yoga, without connection to the Supreme, is just dukkha, it's just suffering. So therefore our detachment rests on our being attached to Krishna, or being connected with Krishna. And we have so many wonderful ways to be attached to Krishna. Krishna is standing here, Shri Radhagiri Dais standing here, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Gauranitai, they're standing waiting for everyone to serve them. There's different ways, garlands and bringing fruit and vegetables and flowers and cooking and dressing and having kirtan, and so many different ways to serve the deities. And we have the whole wealth of Srimad Bhagavatam, scripture. You have the wealth of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And there's so many cases where it says that just by hearing about this a particular pastime, or just by hearing a part of the scripture, one will move closer to Krishna, one will attain love for Krishna. And they're so, beautiful and wonderful. We have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in which he's associated with the different devotees. One devotee is quite rare and, you could say unique in his dealings with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have Jagadananda Pandit. And Jagadananda Pandit, one time he went to Navadvip, and he collected all of this special oil for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, scented oil. And he thought, yes, I'm going to give this to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is going to be my gift to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he's feeling very happy. Which, again, that principle engaged in everything in Krishna's service. When we go in the world, we see how things are related to Krishna, how we can engage them in Krishna's service. So Jagadananda Pandit was thinking, here's some wonderful oil, and I'm going to offer it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he did that. He collected it in a big pot, clay pot. He hauled it all the way from Navadvip to Puri. And he told Govinda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's servant, please give Chaitanya Mahaprabhu this oil, and you could use it to massage his head. This will help with bile and mucus and be good, very good for his health. So Govinda presented it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I'm a sannyasi. Did I take sannyas to experience such comforts? And he said, first you're giving me oil, then you expect me to have my own masseuse as well? And if I use this oil and I pass on the street, I pass people on the street, people will smell this oil and they'll think, what type of sannyasi is this? He must be a materialistic sannyasi, keeping women. He must be like that. So he said, I can't use this. So then Jagadananda Pandit, he heard of this and he didn't say anything. And 10 days passed. So then Jagadananda Pandit, he went to Govinda and said, can you please ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to accept this? this oil again. Or he went to ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Govinda did. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the same thing. So then Jagannatha Pandit went to meet him. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to speak to Jagannatha Pandit, he said, I'm a sannyasi, I cannot accept this oil. What you do is you take this oil and you give it to the temple. And they could use it to burn, and you could use it to burn for Lord Jagannath. And in this way, your service will not go in vain. It'll be... And then Jagannatha Pandit said, who's saying this, that I brought oil? And I didn't bring any oil. And then it says, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes that he went into the place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he got the pot of oil and he walked outside and he threw it down on the ground, broke it. And then it said he went to his home, he closed the door, he bolted the door, and he lay down. And it said that he fasted for 3 days. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he goes and he knocks on the door, and he says, and he understands. He's in the mood of Satyabhama, by the way. They have this type of relationship. Satyabhama, Queen Satyabhama and Krishna have this type of dealings. So he understands that Jagannatha Pandit is upset, angry. So he knocks on the door and he says, Jagannatha Pandit, I am going to take darshan of Jagannath, and when I return, I want you personally to cook my lunch. When I return, I want to have lunch cooked from you. So please have lunch ready when I return. So Jagannatha Pandit, he got up, he bathed, he cooked, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, sat down, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Jagannatha Pandit that you just sit here next to me, we'll take prasadam together. And Jagannatha Pandit said, no, I'll serve you first, and then. So Jagannatha Pandit, he was feeding him a lot. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a lot of rice, a lot of dal, a lot of sabji, a lot of different savories. He's feeding. It says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was being fed so much, but he was in fear that he didn't want to tell Jagannatha Pandit that's enough, because he was in fear that he would become angry at him. So he just kept on eating and eating and eating. And then said that he took like 10 times more than he usually does. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 10 times more than he usually does, out of fear of Jagannatha Pandit. But then at that point he says, Jagannatha Pandit, you've fed me 10 times more than I usually have for lunch, so I have to stop now. And Jagannatha Pandit accepted. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up, he gave him a garland, Jagannatha Pandit gave him a garland, gave him some sandalwood paste on his forehead, and then allowed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to rest. And then Jagannatha Pandit distributed the remnants of Lord Chaitanya to some of his associates. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that anybody who reads this, hears this, or reads the book of Jagannatha Pandit, which is called Prema Vivarta, then they will attain love for Krishna. They'll understand what does it mean to love Krishna. So in this way, there's so many wonderful examples in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam and so many other books in which just by hearing, by meditating, then we will be reconnected to Krishna, and therefore, we will also be able to be detached from material existence and happy in Krishna consciousness. So does anybody have any question or comment? they want to give you a mic, so I hope you don't mind.
Hare Krishna. You had mentioned the 5 things recommended by Rupa Goswami for Grihasthas. Can you please repeat the 5 things that Rupa Goswami recommends for Grihasthas?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, these 5 principles, there's 64 principles of devotional service, but Rupa Goswami says that there's 5 that are most potent, the most potent forms of devotional service. And this is for Grihasthas, Vanaprasthas, Sannyasis, anybody, any devotee. And Rupa Goswami says even a slight attachment to any one of these can awaken love for Krishna even in a beginner. So he says that one is deity worship, to worship the deity with great faith and reverence. 2 is to chant the holy name of Krishna. So we have kirtan, japa, to engage in chanting the holy names. 3 is to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam class or other such books. And 4 is to associate with devotees. And 5 is to reside in a holy place. So we see that Srila Prabhupada very expertly designed his morning program to encapsulate all of that. We are in a holy place, temple. We are engaged in deity worship. We are chanting the holy names. We are associating with the devotees. We are here in Srimad Bhagavatam class. So the 5 most potent forms of devotional service are the life of the morning program, which we do every day here at the temple. So those are the 5 that he recommends that we do. Any other question? Comment?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You talked about the Grihasthas, and you also mentioned Hollywood and Bollywood. I've been to quite a few Grihasthas' houses, and a lot of them have televisions. Do you have any comments about that, or what do you think about that?
I know one. So where was I? Yeah. Anyways, I was visiting one devotee's home. Yeah, I was very impressed by their Krishna consciousness and their rising early and chanting and saying so many prayers and engaging in their deity worship and so on. So I was very impressed by them. But in addition, they had 2 young children, Gauranga and Gaurangi, a boy and a girl. So, enthusiastic children, and yeah, children means there's going to be a lot of, if you want to say, screaming or loud kind of voices going on. So they were saying, I hope you don't mind. I said, no, that's whatever. I live in the Brahmacharya ashram, it's okay. We have such voices going on up there too. But anyways, they had a TV, a big TV in their living room. And but what they were doing is they would just play a bunch of kirtans going, because they have all these recorded kirtans, live recorded kirtans, and different music videos, or kirtan music videos for their children, and their children were really liking that, really getting into that. So that's what they were doing with their TV. So it depends what one's doing with it. Could be, and I also know this other couple in Los Angeles. Each time I visit them at their home, whenever I go to Los Angeles, somehow or other, I just go and visit them. They live right across the street from the temple on Watsaka Avenue. They also have a TV in their home, and they are always playing some. They tend to do the live stream of the temple. They have that going, and then they have also playing other things, kirtans and other things like that. So, yeah, it depends what one's doing with it. But anything could be a time waster. Anything and everything could be a time waster. It just depends how a person's engaging it. And that's really the challenge, how not to waste time, because we have a certain amount of time in the day, in the week, the month, and so on. And however we utilize our time will affect us and affect our consciousness and what we achieve in life. So the more we can not waste time and engage it in a meaningful way, then the better we are. So, but yeah, that's a challenge, and we have to balance and challenge and try to strive to not waste time. There's also people who are time wasters. They call them professional time wasters. So we have to be careful about that too. So, yeah. Yes.
Very good answer.
You could take your TV and throw it out the window.
Yeah, I was just going to say
If it's not serving you properly.
when you say TV, you mean big screen? Yeah, well, just like Balaram said, I just watched a movie on my computer. It was Indradumna Maharaj's tour of Mayapur. It was fantastic. I took some prasadam and I was watching them, So just that Balaram answered expertly. Don't assume. Otherwise, it's the one-eyed idiot, just like you said,
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a lot of media, actually. Great stuff.
Yes.
15 seconds. The verse, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 128. That's what you're looking for. And Bollywood, simple. Bombay, Hollywood. It's a Bombay, Hollywood, so they detect Bollywood. From Bombay came Bollywood. That's what.
Bombay came Bollywood. Okay.
Came Hollywood. Bombay, Hollywood. It's shortened to Bollywood.
We have a huge film industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of them are, some of those fellows seem to have some piety, or they do have piety. Some of those people who make a lot of money in that industry, they come to the temple and, donate a lot. So, but. All right. Okay, thank you all very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna.